Good morning, Pisces. Leave it to you guys to be the ones to wake my ass up at 6 a.m. and say, okay, time to go do the Pisces reading. Being the morning ray of sunshine that I am, I have your reading ready for you. So I've been trying to do your guys' reading for about 5 days now. Every day it was just like, nope, not gonna happen. Nope, this came up, not gonna happen. Apparently, 6 a.m. is when this is gonna work. I knew this reading was gonna be different, but that it was gonna be good. Because I have quite a few Pisces people in my life, and lately it has been so opposite the norm. Makes me think of watching your chemistry professor struggle with solving a molecular composition problem. I fucking suck at chemistry, that's just point blank. But a professor, don't even fathom that could be a problem. You're like, whoa, didn't even know this was possible. And that's kind of how I feel with my Pisces people in my life lately. It makes me realize what a high standard, I guess I see them as, or like a high level of respect and look up to them so much that it's been such a different experience to see the struggles or the stumbles. Normally, my spread looks way different, right? Well, you guys apparently would like a morning story. And that's what you're gonna get. So, just as the astrology all plays out, it's kind of like what your guys' life is like right now. Neptune is your ruling planet. It's been retrograde since June 18th. It's like driving with a donut or a spare tire. Like, you don't have a flat, but you're forced to slow your row. Just gotta go slow for a little bit. On the 10th, Jupiter, it's the planet of expansion. It's gonna go direct in your 9th house. Your 9th house is your house of vision. So it's like when you go to those scenic overlooks. Sure, you can see the scenery. But if you put your quarter in and use those little binoculars, you can see things a lot clearer and they seem a lot closer, right? Also on the 10th, Venus goes into Virgo. And that's like your acknowledgement and appreciation of the beauty that's in your life. The beauty of things making sense. That's going to help on the 13th when we get this new moon and the lunar eclipse. Because that is it's in you 5th house, not your 5th house, but you 5th house, to shed light on why things are the way they are, why they've been the way they've been. And then we're going to have the Mercury retrograde on the 26th, which honestly to you guys is like having a lump in your ponytail, like you could give a shit less. For me, on the other hand, I'm Aries. Drives me nuts when I have a lump in my ponytail. 27th, full moon, solar eclipse. It's in Aquarius. Aquarius is your guys' 12th house. So it's like opening the windows and turning on the fans to clear out the smoke when you've left that pizza in too long. What have you left in your life too long? Because we're about to open the windows. We're going to turn on some really big fans this month, Pisces. Really big fans. So with the affirmations deck, oddly enough, there are 7 cards here. July happens to be the 7th month, right? So this is kind of a storyline leading up to how the hell did I end up here. I'm going to tell you how you ended up here. Because you decided that you're going to start following your heart. And when it seems like it's taking too long to get where you want to go, you have come to the realization that there's a detour, there's a delay for a purpose. It's like going on a road trip and you end up with a car issue. Maybe you run into or meet the nicest tow truck driver, or you sit at a cafe and have some coffee while you're waiting for your car to get repaired, and you meet somebody who totally changes your life. It's those little things and understanding that everything is playing out the way that it's supposed to. And it's just the universe's way of reminding you, like, hey, you don't always get to be in charge. Like, you guys totally rock it out, and you somehow handle a ridiculous amount of responsibility. But every once in a while, you just have to succumb to the fact that you're not in charge. Go with the flow. So then once you decided that, this whole communication thing came up. You guys are good at communication. We get along quite nicely because we both cut the shit. So your guys' communication is strong, but you sometimes kind of let things slide. You're just like, meh, we'll see. It'll work itself out. Not lately. Lately, you guys have been more of the mindset of, if I have a question, I'm going to ask it. It's like, do ask, do tell. If you don't, the assumption could very well just have made an ass of both of you. You know, like, you look at the word assume. Makes an ass of you and me. So instead of having that happen, you guys have just been asking. Once you got done asking your questions, you realized that there's no need to do. You are exactly where you are because that's where you need to be. Things are exactly the way they are because that's the way they need to be. Yeah, there's taxes, there's laundry, there's dirty diapers, there's whatever responsibilities in life. But in the big picture, you don't need to worry because you're right where you need to be with who you're meant to be with, and you're headed in the direction that you're meant to be headed. And after a couple of potholes, you guys have kind of went on a pretty smooth sailing road for that. It's going good, right? And then you guys stumbled upon some confidence. And it's not that you guys don't have confidence in yourself or confidence in your abilities or the people in your life, but you're able to actually take a step back and look at yourself with pride. You are finally willing to acknowledge the abundance of abilities and talents that you guys have, what you have to offer, and how important it is that who you end up with has that same ability to see their talents and their worth. Because you guys have had to work really hard to get to this place where you can be open and honest with yourself and acknowledge what you do have to offer. And if you guys have had to work that hard for it, then why shouldn't everybody else? You guys are always the backbone or the cheerleader or the voice of reason. But there comes a point when you hit your mark and you're like, all done, cut off. That very first hint of victim status, and you're like, fuck this, I'm out. See ya. Good luck to you. Might want to learn to swim because you're about to sink. And now you're starting to realize the importance of the people in your life obtaining that same quality. Once you really were able to encompass that entire thought, you found peacefulness. When it comes to the matters of your heart, you guys always prefer that peaceful, tranquil energy. And you typically don't allow much drama or chaos. But lately, I think you guys have had to sit within a slightly less stable state of peacefulness within your heart. And it's been confusing. It's made you accept being vulnerable. It's made you get out your flashlight and start digging deep into those dark corners of the closet where we all shove shit when we're trying to get it out of our way, but we don't really want to deal with it. If we went through it, we could probably just throw most of it away anyhow, but we're like, yeah, fuck that. Just throw it in the back of the closet. It's good. Now, there's a water leak, and you got to clean out that closet. So, all of it's sitting laid out in the middle of your floor. And while it would be just as easy to sweep it under the bed, whatever, that's not an option. So you guys went through all of that, and you sorted it all out. While you were sorting it out, you came across this thing called beauty. And you realized that you are beautiful. You realize that whether you see it, whether you only have hints of understanding, that's okay. But you also realized that no matter if anyone else verbalizes it in your life, you know deep down that there is beauty within you. And you have absolutely zero need to prove that to anyone. So now you're right where you need to be. You're expecting the same amount of confidence that you have in others. You are knowing that you are beautiful, and you're on your way to a month where you're going to start engaging with others. I know, Pisces, craziest shit I've ever heard. The sign of perfectly being okay, not talking to a single soul for days on end until somebody finally calls and says, "Are you still alive?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm good. What's up?" Like, nothing's wrong. Like, you fell off the face of the fucking earth for how many days? And then you're just like, "Oh, yeah, what? Huh? Oh, I was just hanging out." Well, you guys are going to just be social butterflies coming up. Well, you know how, like, your house is your little safe cocoon and you don't have a lot of interference with your comfort within your cocoon? You guys are very good about being selective as to what you allow into your cocoon. Well, somebody came along and plucked open your cocoon and said, "Hey, look, you have wings. You're going to be a butterfly now. Your life is going to be more interesting because you choose to stop isolating yourself, and you're going to make a conscious effort to engage, because you never know who you're going to meet or what you could learn." And that's where it gets you. You're like, "Okay, I'll give it a whirl." Your spirit guides are like, just in case you didn't like that story, we'll tell you a story of our own. But we're going to do it in 5 cards. All just kind of threw their 2 cents in, and now you got 10 cents. Okay? We start out with prayer feather. There are times when the small concerns of everyday life need to simply drop away and be replaced by the simplicity of your being, just who you are. And this is that time. So feathers are used to carry the smoke when we are smudging. Smudging is the cleansing of your environment. So if feathers carry that, you are going to have these feathers surrounding you, and they're going to carry you through this cleansing process. Then, Grandfather Sky, he says, think about the ancient forest. The ancient forest doesn't doubt its abilities, because there's this immense, unseen, but very real spirit within the forest. What Grandfather Sky is saying is that your greatest strength is silent and deep, just like the spirit of the forest. It doesn't need to show its force, its inner power, and it found that through contemplation and reflection and meditation. And it comes from growth and change. And it comes with surviving and conquering painful situations, which you guys are acutely aware of and familiar with. And with the forest, those trees are able to sustain huge amounts of force because they are one unit. But if you have one tree, that's when it gets uprooted, when there is a huge force, because it doesn't have the strength surrounding it. That's why it's so important for you guys to engage, because now you are going to allow yourself to have that support around you. Then we move into ancestors. Grandmother Earth says that even if there are unsettling situations in your life right now, they're there for a reason. It makes you who you are. Cherish every experience, because it deepens your wisdom. It deepens your compassion, your understanding. And through all of these trials and tribulations, you've obtained little bits and pieces of understanding, compassion, and wisdom, and that's how the hell you got where you are now, as the person you are now. So then your ancestors went on to offer the spirit of water. Weird, water. You're a water sign. Know that you're on the right path. The biggest message from the spirit of water: do not stifle your emotions. Trust that there are messages in these emotions, and they are there for a reason. You need to embrace them so that you can fully understand them, which strengthens your trust within yourself so that you can continue to ride these waves and trust your hunches. And just like the agitator of a washer, these waves are going to cleanse you. You got to go through the ringer. You got to go through the rinse cycle. You got to go through the spin cycle. You're probably going to feel like you could puke sometimes, but you're going to look good and smell good when you're all done. Lastly, your future self is throwing the tribal spirit dancer at you. So for my Pisces individuals in my life, it is normally a fabulous time going out, having lunch, talking, whatever. But you throw in some sangria or wine of any sort, a few beers, and all of a sudden you see the individual who is always taking on so much and just powering through have the ability to let go and just say yes to life. Go beyond your self-imposed limitations, your predictable behaviors. Every once in a while, you need to throw your hands in the air and do a little jig and not give a fuck who's watching because it feels good. So now, Pisces, we are going to take a moment for me to throw out your other cards. I will be right back. All right, voila. I'm back. Let's do the middle section, your work, career, and finance. So 5 of Pentacles. Look at that card. There's a pretty obvious difference between the guy in the first card and the lady, either of the ladies in the second card, right? He's just keeping to himself on his own little journey, doing God knows what. It's kind of like you, Pisces. You guys are always going to do what is necessary to ensure that the needs of whomever you're responsible for are met. And nobody really needs to know about what you're going through because you just do it. Just kind of put your hood up and power forward, right? But while that's all admirable and everything, you also need to remember that not all requests for help are received in the same energy as when a patient pushes their call light. Not every request is that annoying, repetitive noise that's exhausting, makes you feel like you just want to be done for the day. No, people want to help you. Keep your confidence strong so that you have the courage to take on this new opportunity that's coming up. It's going to greatly improve your work environment or your work conditions, but you might need to ask someone for a little bit of help in order to achieve it. Then you have the 7 of Cups. So it looks like to me, when you're at a party, way back in the day, before you went to bed at 7 o'clock, and you would create these massive towers of beer cans. Like, you really have no emotional attachment to it, but if somebody tipped it over, like, everybody's like, oh no! Okay, so there's this sense of high emotion in all facets of your life. It's up to you at this point to decide what has the emotional connection of the beer tower and what has the emotional connection means something to you. And then you're going to focus on that. Then we come into the 8 of Pentacles. You see his good stash that he has underneath there, but yet there he is, still working. Like, nobody's around, just silently working. Doesn't need any recognition for it. Doesn't need a big crowd watching. He's just there, building up his stash. You guys always seem to be able to shapeshift into Superman. Just accomplish, like, the unimaginable. You guys work these insane amount of hours a week, have a family with all these kids, maybe throw in a couple pregnancies that are high risk, and then continue to go to school, and not just like, I'm like in a tech school. No, like, let's just go to school and let's do, I'll take a double major with a side of double minor, and could you throw in a Mountain Dew, please? I have a Pisces friend who I worked with as a medic. She is so inspiring to me. She has a family with the mindset that I want to spend as much time with my kids as possible. I want to go on as many adventures as possible. And as she's doing that and experiencing that, her right-hand man is powering through with her, experiencing life. And she's able to have the most amazing family, the most mature yet fun and true marriage. Seems like a pretty good success, right? Well, then you throw in working full-time and the exact example I gave of some astronomical redonkulous degree. And of course, it's like, what'd you get on your test? 99, or like, what the actual fuck? How? And every night when all of us would try and get an hour of sleep because we'd been running all day, not this person. Nope. You would find her with her books out and doing her homework. She was the one who was walking around doing her chemistry experiments where it was like, oh yeah, that's just Carmen. I had to pee in a cup because she needed to test the acidity of my pee. But it was no big deal to her. She was just like, oh, this is every day. Everyday life, yeah, it's good. Like, how the hell? But yet you guys do it. The universe sees that. And you are about to step into the reward of all of that hard work and that perseverance and that working silently and diligently, not needing anybody to pat you on the back. We move into your love and romantic relationships and you have creative wonderment. What is it that made itself at home in your thoughts and dreams? This month, it's getting an eviction notice. Not like a 30-day, yeah, you kind of sucked at paying your rent, you got to get out. No, it's like one of those really snarky, you've fucked around long enough, 3-day, it's time to get out now. Yep. So it's time to put those thoughts into actions. You're going to pack their bags and you're going to say, get trucking. Your dreams are becoming your reality. And you are able to finally utilize all of those skills and the talents that you finally recognize that you have. You're going to utilize those to follow your passion. Then we move into illusion. The definition of illusion is something that deceives by producing a false or misleading impression of reality. So most oftentimes, there's two culprits to blame for this. A, your heart. B, the opinion of others. A rigorous mental and emotional self-evaluation is necessary right now. You might not even realize that you're being held back by something that you're willing to embrace because it's an illusion. I'm going to respect you guys are Pisces. I know how there's a fine line. I'm tiptoeing along it. So we're going to move into your spirit animal for the sake of keeping the good vibes going. Dragonfly. Great change is coming. Thanks to your consistent efforts, you have successfully manifested your dreams and desires into your reality. The message of the dragonfly is about that of illusion. Ooh, I can't help what the cards say. Whether the illusion is in relation to you or someone else or a circumstance that you have going on, you need to be cautious that you don't fake it till you make it. Did you catch that? Because that's what we try to do in other areas. But if we can fake it until we make it in a positive regard, Pisces, we can do the same in a negative regard. The moray eel. So the eel teaches us that we need to create stronger boundaries. Know that at the end of the day, the reality is that you only have so much energy and time to share. These are valuable commodities, and it's important that you conserve how much you divvy out to others in order to preserve enough for yourself. If you find that this is a common challenge for you, the eel suggests that you ask yourself whether or not granting the request of whichever is in the best interest of all involved. Be fair to yourself. Be fair to others. Be consciously aware that you are ultimately only responsible for your happiness and fulfillment throughout your journey. Nobody else. That's on them. I know you guys are so used to saying, oh, I got this. And you are so willing to be everybody's support system. And just like I've said before in other videos, you guys have believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. But now's the time to take that same approach, that same dedication and passion, and that same level of compassion, move it and focus it on you, because you are worth it. And this is your journey. And your journey is so close to that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It really is. I am so proud of you guys. You guys are absolutely my inspiration. I look up to you. I respect you. And quite frankly, I don't know what I would do without you guys. And to see that your guys' story is finally transitioning into what you've deserved for so long makes me genuinely happy, like with tears. I love you guys, and I will see you in August.